People who have never been in a museum before know who Andy Warhol is.
Cultural icon and godfather of the pop art movement, Andy Warhol was born August 6, 1928, in a working-class neighborhood of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
He was so rejected, and he was such a misfit, and he was this sensitive, artistic, quite unattractive gay kid in, steel country.
At the age of 8, he contracted chorea, a rare disease of the nervous system, which left him bedridden for months. It was during that time that his mother gave him his first drawing lessons.
He always kind of had to use his art to survive and make a niche for himself, and he was always trying to use his art to woo and to gain approval.
In 1949, Warhol moved to New York City to pursue a career as a commercial artist.
Warhol made his bones as the most successful illustrator in New York.
And so advertising for him was really an important medium because it was a language that people could understand. He was really attracted to that.
In 1952, he had his first solo exhibition at the Hugo Gallery with 15 drawings based on the writings of Truman Capote.
When Warhol first came to New York, he was totally obsessed with Truman Capote. And Capote hated him and even later said in an interview, "This is a guy that I can't see anyone liking."
Warhol was at the forefront of the emerging pop art movement, where artists used everyday consumer objects as subjects. In 1962, he debuted 32 Campbell's soup cans and gold Marilyn.
By taking something as omnipresent as, Campbell's soup cans, something that everybody already knew about and now saying this is art, that sort of opened a lot of doors for people to look at what could be art differently.
Warhol's satirical approach to celebrity portraits that today sell for millions of dollars also garnered much attention.
He was always sort of stepping back and laughing at things, but he couldn't really tell people he was laughing at things.
In 1964, Warhol began operating out of a silver-painted and foil-draped studio nicknamed The Factory.
If you were interesting, you were hanging out at the Factory. Part of what makes Warhol so interesting is his ability to attract really creative and interesting people around him and then be inspired by that and sort of pull from those ideas and turn it into his own work.
It was at the Factory that Warhol made his first films.
He was one of the first artists ever to exhibit video as an artwork. I mean, that's pretty amazing if you think of nowadays. It's so commonplace.
In 1968, Factory member and radical feminist Valerie Solanas shot and nearly killed Warhol.
He has a famous line where he talks about the fact that he was never sure whether half the time he was awake or he was watching television in his life, and then after he was shot, he realized he was watching television. And, there's something beautiful and very sad in that.
Warhol was also famous for being a major presence in the New York nightlife scene. He was a fixture at Studio 54, where he was surrounded by celebrities.
Kenny Sharp has this famous line that you knew you were at a good party in New York when Warhol showed up.
Warhol died on February 22, 1987. In 1994, the Andy Warhol Museum opened in his hometown. Once a social outcast, Warhol rose to become one of the most legendary artists of the 20th century, whose influence still continues to grow.
Warhol is everywhere. It's hard to say that any work today isn't influenced by Warhol.